You've probably seen her before, rolling up her sleeve in a red polka dot bandana, staring straight at the viewer under the bold words, "We can do it." That's Rosie the Riveter, one of the most famous images from World War II. But what if I told you she wasn't just a poster? She represented a real revolution in American life. Before World War II, most women, especially white middle-class women, weren't expected to work outside the home. In fact, in 1940, only about 27% of American women had jobs. Working women were usually young and unmarried, from lower income or minority backgrounds. For many, jobs were limited to domestic service, teaching, or clerical work. The idea of a married woman or a housewife clocking in at a factory was almost unheard of. But all of that changed in 1941, when the United States entered World War II. Millions of men were drafted and sent overseas, leaving factories, shipyards, and offices short-staffed. The country faced an urgent problem. Who would keep the war machine running at home? The answer turned out to be women, and to recruit them, the government launched a full-blown campaign. That's where Rosie the Riveter comes in. First introduced in a hit 1942 song and popularized through posters and magazine covers, Rosie was designed to appeal to the average American woman. She wasn't just tough, she was patriotic, respectable, and, importantly, still feminine. Government agencies like the Office of War Information made sure Rosie looked confident and capable, but also relatable. The message was clear: you can help work and still be feminine. With that encouragement, and a whole lot of necessity, women stepped into roles that had previously been off-limits. They built airplanes, tanks and ships. They packed ammunition, worked in steel mills, ran assembly lines, and operated cranes. By 1944, about 36% of American women were in the labor force, with over 6 million taking on war-related jobs. In some industries, like aircraft production, women made up nearly half the workforce. But the contributions didn't stop at the factory doors. Around 350,000 women served in the military through special branches like the Women's Army Corps, known as WAC, WAVES in the Navy, and SPARS in the Coast Guard. These women weren't in combat, but they filled essential roles: radio operators, clerks, mechanics, drivers, and nurses. Some even worked as codebreakers and mathematicians, including those who helped design aircraft or supported the top-secret Manhattan Project. For many women, especially those from white middle-class homes, this was their first experience with paid labor. It wasn't always easy. They had to fight stereotypes, juggle family responsibilities, and adapt to entirely new environments. But the government made a deliberate effort to ease the transition. Posters promised that working wouldn't make them less feminine. Some areas offered childcare under emergency wartime legislation. And social clubs, churches, and women's organizations rallied behind the idea that this was temporary, patriotic work. Rosie the Riveter might have started as a piece of wartime propaganda, but she came to symbolize something much bigger: a turning point in American society. Women didn't just help win the war, they changed the way the country thought about gender, work, and possibility. And while the full fight for equality was far from over, the foundation had been laid. So next time you see Rosie's iconic image, remember she wasn't just an ad. She was a signal that the world was changing and that women were leading the way. Thanks for watching. Stories that impact women have shaped history, yet have been largely ignored. We're here to tell them loud and clear. Subscribe for more untold stories, surprising facts, and historical game changers you won't find in your history books. See you in the next chapter.